The purpose of the Global CFO Council is to provide an educational and networking forum for senior financial executives in order to share best practices, discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their jobs. Membership is open to senior financial executives including CFOs, financial VPs, and treasurers. We hope that you'll become a member of the Global CFO Council today. To join, please visit the membership tab at globalcfocouncil.com.
Scott, good morning. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fine, and you?
I am doing great now. So thank you for your patience. Was a little under the weather, but now feeling great and super excited to get to talk to you. Scott Matirne is the CFO at the United States Navy Memorial Foundation, and it's based out of DC. Scott's based out of Maryland. Scott, I think you went to the University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, political science undergrad. Is that correct?
Yes.
Did something at the University of Maryland at the Global campus, I think.
Yes, I got my degree in accounting there.
Nice. And see, there's a theme here. He's a multi kind of guy, because not only were you in the Marine Corps, you were also in the Coast Guard.
I was. I actually saw more of the world in the Coast Guard than I did in the Marine Corps.
Interesting.
We went over to Europe twice. Once for the 50th D-Day commemoration, and then we went on the what I like to call the tour of countries that began or ended in A. Tunisia, Bulgaria, Romania, Albania.
I thought the Coast Guard stayed on the coast. Did y'all get lost or something and turn right when you sort of turn left? Like, how do you end up in Europe?
The Coast Guard in World War II was actually involved in the Normandy D-Day. The Coast Guard became part of the Navy, the Department of the Navy. It does that during time of war, and that was the only time that happened, was in World War II, and they saved about, I want to say, almost 4,000 lives on D-Day. So we were over there for the commemoration, and then we went on a goodwill tour to the different countries, Morocco, went into Turkey, got to spend a lot of time in Turkey, actually. Istanbul is beautiful. And just tooling around doing goodwill stuff. The second tour we went over there, it was a goodwill tour for the State Department. And we were going and rewarding countries that were stable democracies or emerging democracies. And we were doing training in their Coast Guards, Slovenia, Croatia, things like that. And it was actually a lot of fun.
Well, speaking of fun, I'm excited to have this conversation. Let's get started, Scott. Scott, what is your favorite business book and why?
Favorite business book is The Attributes. It's 25 Hidden Drivers of Optimal Performance. And it's by a former Navy SEAL, Rich Devine. The reason why is during the pandemic, we did a little reorganization. We went away from a COO model, and the president and CEO and I split the duties. I took all of the brick and mortar duties on, including HR, the retail store that we have here, maintenance, everything that goes on that's actually the physical location, and president and CEO took on the development and the programs and engagement. And part of my job is doing the HR. We had experienced a lot of issues with retention rates being very low. Part of it had to do with salaries, but the other part were that we weren't hiring the right people for the right jobs. So this book actually helps you look past the resume and look at some of the situational skills that people have. And it's actually been a game changer. We got some really good people on staff now, and they're really committed to their jobs, their performance, and professional development. So it really works.
That's the first time anybody's brought up that book, and how timely to learn some new skills for the tool belt around the areas of HR and retention. We're all having to deal with that. So I'm definitely going to check that out. Thank you.
And
Question
one of
number.
the things that I also found out that you have to look past someone's education. Because I've known people with master's degrees that they aren't able to translate that education into actionable job skills or being productive in their jobs.
So true. And sometimes those that lack maybe a traditional education, they could lack that, but just be exceptional at the performance of the duties of the job. So true, so important right now. I got high expectations for question number 2, Scott. When you start like that, what is the best advice that you have ever received?
Actually, the best advice I've ever received was from my grandmother when I was about 7 or 8 years old. I asked her what she thought I should be. And she said, it doesn't matter. Try everything you ever wanted to do, and what you're meant to do will find you. So I took that to heart and have actually, we talked a little bit about some of the things that I've done, Marine Corps and Coast Guard. But I also worked for lawyers for 10 years to figure out if I wanted to go to law school or not. Decided that was all different types of law, from personal injury to estate, construction, employment law, international law. It was very educational, and several different firms. But I also am a chef. I was an executive chef down in New Orleans for a little while, and that was fun. I was a police officer for about 6 months before I joined the Marine Corps. Key is to try things, and if you know they're not going to work out, you move on. So I've done a lot of different things. Worked in the private sector and have worked in the nonprofit sector. Nonprofit sector has been where I belong, and accounting ended up being where I belong.
How fascinating. I've never met one person who was a police officer, an executive chef, Marine, Coast Guard, accountant. You are a dynamic individual, sir.
I try.
Question number 3. What is a tool that you have recently started using, or a habit that you've recently picked up that you have found beneficial?
Well, we just went through a major infrastructure upgrade of our IT, and we started using a Microsoft 365, but most specifically, the one I find most useful is SharePoint. Before, we had a problem with sharing documents and being collaborative. And this allows you to do that. The only drawback that I see to it, or I've seen so far, is anytime you're working in SharePoint in an Excel document or a PowerPoint presentation, you actually have to take it out of SharePoint in order to change formulas or do things like that. And then you have to put it back in. If you put it back in and someone else has made a change, it erases their change, of course. So that's the only drawback I've seen so far, but it's helped us a lot in collaboration.
SharePoint is great. I'll give you another thing that you'll feel that that's frustrating a year or 5 years from now. There'll be so many documents in SharePoint, and like a nonsensical or zero organization about where these documents are. It will be near impossible to find things once you've started using it for a while. But it is great. If you could come up with an organizational structure for the whole company that people stick to, that would make it double great.
Yeah, that's where we're working on that with the IT provider. So,
question number 4. Speaking of that job, what is the best part of your current job?
From an operational standpoint, it's my favorite part is the collaboration. We have a really strong team. Everybody is involved in the strategic planning process. The directors are doing their own budgets now. They're responsible for everything. They're doing their own forecasting now. I've spent a lot of time working with them, and they understand. We go through every month, and they understand the impact that one part of the business has on the other part, and how they can work together to make sure that we fulfill our mission. From the mission standpoint, it's the impact that we have on veterans and their families, general public. We're right here on Pennsylvania Avenue, halfway between the White House and the Capitol building. So we're center stage for everything. And we have a lot of honor flights that come in. Tomorrow we're doing the blessing of the fleet, which was a huge ceremony that we get water in from the 7 seas and the Great Lakes from all different Navy units that are out there. The Great Lakes, because that's where the Navy boot camp is, and that's where every sailor starts their career. This year we actually have some water from the Arctic. They broke through the ice and sent us that. But we have a whole ceremony there where the ceremonial guard will actually pour the water in, and we turn the fountains on, and it's actually pretty cool to watch all of that. But it's very impactful. The Navy Memorial has been designed as a living memorial. We don't receive any congressional funding, so we get all of the money that we get are from corporate partners and from individuals. And the impact that we have for our educational programs, the events that we have outside on the plaza, it's just, you can't measure the impact other than the smile and the tears in the veterans' eyes when they see these ceremonies that are going on.
Well, thank you to you and the whole team that does all that your organization does. It's a great way to give back and combine your vocation with these volunteer efforts. So great job. And you seem like a great person, so I'm interested about question number 5. What's something personal that you haven't talked about yet, but you would be willing to share with the rest of the CFO Council members?
Sure. A few years ago, I actually had a midlife crisis and decided to run for public office. I did that twice. First time I lost by 107 votes. Second time by 11 votes. Still looking for those 118 people to thank them. And oddly enough, the person that I lost the first election to is now running for Lieutenant Governor of Maryland. So, and she's a really good friend of mine.
Well, I think nothing better could have happened than to lose public office. It's for those that do it for the right reason, God bless you. It's wonderful, but can be such a burden. It seems like anybody who serves in that capacity that I know, they come out and it's like dog years. 1 year of service is 7 years of their life. And I already have lost all my hair, so I don't know what would happen if I'm not eligible. If people would find stuff out about me, a simple Google search would make me ineligible to serve. But good on you. Good luck to continue to lose, I think.
Right.
But
I think it's out of my system now. So,
Scott, question number 6, last question. It happened so fast. What is something that I should have asked you, but I didn't? And what is your answer to that?
I thought we just covered that. Oh, well, yeah, that was my answer to note 5 and 6, I guess.
Well, a good answer and very well done. You are a fascinating person. I noticed some themes here. First, you're a people person, focused on retention, which is super important here. You said the word collaboration like 7 times, so you clearly like to collaborate. And the inclusive planning that you have at your company, I think, is so important. And what I think people are really talking about, or one of the things they're talking about when they talk about diversity and inclusion and equity, is it's just having an inclusive planning process. And you're already doing that, which I think is great. And how cool to meet a guy who, on this journey of life, following his grandmother's advice, been a police officer and served, been a Marine and served, in the Coast Guard and served, and now you're the CFO of an organization that's purpose is to serve others. So thank you for your heart and your willingness to help your fellow man. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a great day.
You too.